Across the pond, Donald Trump has been promising a bloodbath if he doesn't get in. This is what Trump had to say.
If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole... That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Oh, sure. You want to believe he's saying bloodbath for the car industry there.
I tell you what's really terrifying about this is that if he wins, actually, that's worse than Putin. At least with the Putin, you can see that the people don't have choice. But in America...
They're choosing
the Americans have choice. And if they choose Trump, that tells you that America is in serious trouble. So, you know, I'm hoping that common sense will prevail rather than party politics.
Well, the trouble is they're not being given much of an alternative.
No, but
right? When Biden is the alternative that's being put up, you can understand why people are thinking, well, at least Trump has kind of got... he always strikes me as somebody who starts a sentence never knowing at all where he's going. And any word at all...
That sounds like all of us, that is.
What do you think of that? Because, Susan, that on its own, that bloodbath clip sounds really worrying, as if it's about, you know, insurgency and civil unrest.
It's a ridiculous word to use in any context.
No, well, I don't know whether it was just actually talking about the car industry.
It doesn't matter whether he's talking about the car industry. Bloodbath is not a word he should have used in any context, especially as he knows whatever he says gets blown up and people... And after what happened on Capitol Hill, he must know and he doesn't care because he wants people to walk. He wants us to be talking about him now. He wants us all to kind of think, oh, my goodness, what's he like? He's gone and done that. And he's a strong character. But I do think it's ridiculous. But I don't think he necessarily premeditated to say that. It just is what comes out of his mouth.
It's all about sort of the hard man being tough. He uses sort of tough language, and that tough language is very popular with certain Americans. It's about, is there enough reason and common sense that's going to say this is not the right thing for us as a country?
There's, I think, a comment from Joe Biden, which I saw. A spokesman for Joe Biden's campaign said the remarks show Trump wants another January the 6th and has an affection for violence. I guess if you're Putin, January the 6th being the insurrection into Congress, if you're Putin, you're thinking Trump is not going to lift a finger to defend Ukraine. So if you're Putin, you think that if Trump wins, Ukraine is gone. And then you maybe... I don't know if the Russians can get involved in this American election, but they could just do massive trolling and stuff, couldn't they? And all of that bot activity on social media and fake news. And, I don't know.
I just don't think this is anything to do with any other country but the Americans. It's a bit like the Americans and their guns law. There has to come a point where they say, look, this is just going too far. We, as rational people, need to put a stop to it. And that's what I'm looking...
But there's no indication at all that they think like that as a wide population on guns.
So they'll all be coming over here then. You see a lot of Americans just getting out of that country.
I don't know. I'm thinking... Because I was talking to one of my daughter's friends who's about to go to Canada. And the joke about Canada when Trump was in office was that living in Canada was like living in an apartment over a meth lab. And so she's about to go back to Canada just as possibly Trump gets in. I'm starting to think maybe Trump won't make it. Just only because somewhere in the middle there, you've got 25–30% of Americans who are going to be the ones who decide. And yes, they went for Trump in 2016.
And for those people, don't you feel sorry for them that nobody is offering them anything better than Biden? It can't be true that in a country as big as that, that the only people they can put forward
who walks into flags and gets...
Why would he want to do it at his age, even? Whatever he was like, it's just ridiculous.
All politicians have an element of narcissism, don't they? They don't want to give up office. He doesn't want to pull back. He doesn't want to see Trump win. He doesn't think his deputy can do it. He doesn't see how...
deputy.
Yeah.
Does he actually think that his deputy can't do it?
I think Kamala Harris would be beaten by Trump. But according to every poll.
Oh, right, I see. That's quite interesting.
And I think so. Therefore, if you don't go for her, how do you give it to someone else?
Is it because on racial grounds she wouldn't get it?
She seems to be
unpopular. She's not been very effective.
Yeah, for reasons I don't understand. She seems to be sort of irritated a lot of people. But I honestly don't know the reason. Every time I see American friends, I say, why is the deputy, the vice president, not more popular? And they give me a whole load of quite minor reasons. So I don't really get it. After the break.